Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. And you've got Bob Corcoran in the house. Bob's been tanked up. I mean, you've been drinking coffee now for about the last 6 hours.
Yep, we're here.
And I'll tell you the reason I'm really, really excited about this. I think the last couple of weeks have just been the most intense weeks of my career. And I know, Bob, this is nothing for you. You've been through several different um, tragedies, and I say life-changing moments because these are all opportunities where we can actually change and we can actually improve and grow, and they're opportunities. And I think that's why one reason I think we both connect so well is A, we passionately care about our clients and having them succeed, but we also know there's opportunities to consistently get better. And that's why I love brainstorming with people like you, because we're always thinking what's next, and what else can we do, not just cry and hide ourselves from people.
Yeah, Matt, I fully agree. When I look at this, I've been doing this over 30 years, and my first crisis was the mid 80s, late 80s, the savings and home crisis. Then you had the dot-com bust in 2000, and you had 9/11, you had the housing crisis. And what is really, really interesting is throughout all these crises, it is really all about how you deal with it, Matt. And this is a time for transparency and empathy and really getting down and listening to people. That's what every crisis brings out. I always say there's three types of people, Matt, and you and I've discussed this, and you've been around. There's Chicken Little, the sky is falling. There's the ostrich, let's stick our head in the sand and ignore it's happening, or we can agree to outwork the competition. That's why my average client comes out of these crises in the next 12 months by increasing production dramatically, is because we stay focused during the crisis to what is important. This one's unlike anything else, though. Okay, and because nobody's quite certain. I think what I've been really, really excited, though, to see for the first time through any crisis, Matt, maybe you've noticed this, is all the different companies, the mortgage companies, the stockbroker companies, they're being very proactive in reaching out to their people. Hey, if you need help, we're here to help you. Please ask. Never have I seen that through any other crisis. That is why I know we're going to come out of this one stronger. Also, I think what we're learning throughout this process is going to change the way we sell real estate moving into the future. And I look forward to discussing some of those ideas today.
Absolutely. If I could just back up just for a moment, Bob, I know there's a lot of people that know both of us. I mean, my background in radio and TV advertising, and you as a coach, but give a little backdrop, because there may be some people that know nothing about you. They're just following advice to say, be on this call, because I know the direction I gave people is that, look, there's some people that just don't know you. In a snapshot, tell us where you came from, what you've done over the years, when you got started, your elevator pitch, as it were, so they kind of get to know you a little bit.
Well, my elevator pitch is when people ask me, what do you do for a living? I say, I make millionaires. Okay, I mean, that's really the elevator. They say you got to be able to do it by the time you get to the seventh floor. Heck, I do it before the second floor. Now, I've been in real estate consulting and coaching. Actually, started out as a consultant first, and over 30 years ago, I started in 1989. A lot of people didn't know the difference between consulting and coaching, and then then everybody and their mother thought they could be a coach. So I acquiesced and said, we just started doing coaching. But the difference between consulting and coaching is a coach tells you what to do, a consultant shows you what to do. And that is what has been my strength over the last 30 years. It's not just coaching a single agent, but teaching them how to be the chief executive officer of a business. Because as you know, then we share quite a few clients together. Okay, these people are usually in the top 10 of sales volume in their marketplace. And so it's all about systems and processes, but most important, it's teaching people to be the chief executive officer of a very astute business.
And I would say to that, it was interesting to watch during these last two intensive weeks when we had to renegotiate so many different contracts with people. I could almost handpick the people that were your clients, because they were calm, they made good decisions, and they were stable. They weren't frazzled. And
yeah.
And I say this because I think what's interesting, why you might wonder, why do I have such a good relationship, with Bob? And I think if I would put it in a nutshell, my business is making, lead generation, right? Listing business. But that means absolutely nothing if the person who receives all that business can't convert it, and if they're running like a chicken with their head cut off. You
Yeah.
self-destruct them. When I look at some of the best cases of people that, like the last couple of weeks, that are happy, that are still maintaining things, I look at like Amy Wengert, I look at like Amy Wienans, I look at Amanda Howard, people that they're not saying the sky is falling. Why? Because they've built stable businesses. And probably the thing I'm happiest about with them during this whole course is that these are beautiful working women that can be home by 5, off on weekends with their children, and they can have quality family lives besides netting 2 million to upwards 4.5 million GCI.
Yeah.
That seems like most people that you look at in that business, they're doing that level of business, are working 80, 90 hours a week. They have a terrible family life, and it's horrible. And
Yeah.
you've done a beautiful job of taking some people in those situations and not just transforming their business, helping them put systems in place to where now they can achieve the ultimate dream of being home by 5 and off on weekends. And it's helped give me a definition of why I do what I do. So I'm just honored that we got to do this. And I would love to dive a little bit deeper and see what people could be doing right now and tap into your knowledge of dealing with other crises
Right.
to see what practical steps people can do right now. So
Excellent. So let's get started.
absolutely.
Okay.
So what if you would say right now, if you were talking with a CEO, I'm the CEO of a business, or I think I'm a CEO, what would you be telling me right now to do?
The first thing I would tell you is to have a level head. Okay, the sky is not falling. Tomorrow will come. Okay, well, for most of us, and but what I would tell you right now is we have to be transparent as CEOs. We have to seek first to understand, then to be understood. So in the past, CEOs, barked orders and gave directives. Today, it's asking more questions because this is a different world. You have salespeople who are used to pretty much working virtual. My biggest concern are our operations team. These are people that generally came into an office every day. They don't like the virtual world. They need other people to stay connected. So one of the things, I've recommended to all my clients is that on the operations side of the business, see folks, you got to remember one thing. Without a phenomenal operations department, you will fail miserably because you're going to get bad reviews on Zillow, and we just can't afford that. But for operations people, I recommend 3 daily huddles, 3 huddles a day. We need to give our operations people at least 15 minutes so they can prepare for that huddle. So if everybody operational-wise starts at 9 a.m., Matt, I say then do a huddle at 9:15. And what you're looking for with your operations team is, number one, ask them what wins they had yesterday. And a win can be, I got my son to sit at his computer and do his homework. It doesn't need to be work related. And that's all the time. Wins never need to only be work related. But then I move it into, what is our goal to get accomplished before lunch? And so we set out the key performance indicators for each individual on the operations team, okay, to make sure that we're all aware of what needs to get done. So then let's say everybody goes to lunch from noon to 1. Then I recommend another huddle at 1 o'clock. Bring the ops people, gather back, talk about the work you had this morning, and talk about what work we have this afternoon. Now, my viewpoint's always been, when we look at listing and our transaction management, it's all predictable work. You should be able to find, Matt, as a CEO, your people working virtually will get twice as much done working from home, given the right mindset, because they have no interruptions. If you ask most operations people on a team, Matt, they're going to say that most of the interruptions come from the CEO. Well, now being virtual, that doesn't happen. So they get a lot more work done uninterrupted. So that's important. A lot of times on that 1 o'clock huddle, we're also looking at special projects that can be done. Because if the ultimate goal is to get your transaction management work done before lunch, I can spend the afternoon doing projects. Now, the only project I like people, operations people to work on right now, Matt, call your clients, call your past clients, call your spheres, okay, and just touch base. So those are great projects where you can get operations people to do 1 or 2 hours of just phoning into your database. Then the purpose, if everybody leaves at 5, we do another huddle at 4 and say, all right, what did we get accomplished from 1 to 4? Okay, and then what do you have left to do? So the most important thing that you can do right now, Matt, is over communicate with your operations team. They may say it's not necessary, but these people are not used to working from home and working virtual. Okay, so that is the number one thing. On sales side of it, I would recommend a daily sales huddle with your sales team. And what, to me, if I have buyer agents, a buyer agent is $3 productive activities. It's to prospect, sell, and negotiate. Those are the only 3 things, Matt, a buyer agent, gets paid to do. And if you have listing partners, they get paid to list, prospect, and negotiate. So, by focusing on that, and if they do both, then they get paid to list, prospect, sell, negotiate. So what I want to know from you, if you're one of my salespeople, Matt, is what dollar productive activities do you have scheduled today? Because right now, there's no black and white answer as to how to operate, because it goes from stay in place policies like in California, in some parts of California, where real estate is not deemed essential. So they virtually have shut that market down for a month. That's tough. So now you got to start thinking differently. So you got to know your area. You got to know what restrictions you have. And always it's about being safe out there. And I understand that. But with salespeople, and if Matt, you tell me you have no appointments or anything scheduled today, I'm going to say, Matt, are you prepared to do 6 hours of lead follow-up and prospecting then today? And then they're going to say, you got to guide these people also, Matt. You got to say, they're like 6 hours. Oh my God. Okay. No, who loves to get on the phone for 6 hours a day, Matt? Think about that. It doesn't happen, right?
Right.
So I say mix it up. You might spend the first 2 hours calling past clients. You might spend an hour doing email follow-up. You might spend another hour doing text lead follow-up. Then you might, so break down the different types of calls, but group them all together, because then you're saying the same script over and over, and so you're going to connect more with your people. Also, remember, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. One of the things I'm hearing consistently from all of my clients is, oh my gosh, these people just want to talk. Where in the past, nobody would answer the phone, right? Guys, you got to remember, they're not used to being at home with their spouse, with their kids, and homeschooling. So we've added a whole new layer on parenting with the homeschooling piece. Okay, so it's just being cognizant of that. That is the first advice I always give, is the daily huddles for operations, 3 a day, and then a minimum of 1 a day for sales teams. A lot of my teams are doing 2 sales huddles during this current situation, but normally they only do 1. But that's the first bit of advice.
Excellent. So now, a big concern with the virus, people don't want to, they're scared about open houses. They're scared about, there's no leads coming in for sellers right now. We got buyers, but they don't have any homes to look at. So sellers are scared. What advice are you seeing? What advice would you give to that listing agent that has no listings to call?
Well, it's all about at this time, if we agree to outwork the competition, Matt, then this time it's all about doing lead follow-up. You go into wherever you're incubating all your seller leads. All right, those are the people I want to reach out and touch. Now, the script must also change dramatically. We need to take off, we know LP Mama and LM Papa, right, the buyer and seller conversion scripts. However, the first question always had to be was, purpose of my call, I want to check in, how's your family doing? Second question is, how is this current situation? You notice I'm calling it a situation. I'm not calling it a pandemic. I'm not calling it an epidemic. I'm not using the word coronavirus. I'm not doing any of that. Let's not create hysteria where it may not exist. And remember, listen twice as much as you talk. So look at your seller incubators, call those past clients. Past clients, number one, we already have satisfied these people. They're happy with us, yet we don't put in the effort to stay in touch with them. And so if you're an agent who has no listings, okay, you could also borrow a listing from somebody in your office and do a virtual open house. I love some of the new they're not new ideas. It's just the ideas are being embraced more. Things like a virtual open house. One client, Amy Wienans, another one, David Zargami and Tony Zargami down in Florida, do a tremendous job, okay, of the virtual opens. Both of them, their opens are like 15 minutes long, live on Facebook, but they're getting on average over 400 views. Like Amy Wienans, for example, this past weekend held 44 virtual opens.
Wow.
And she said her average view went from like 300 the week before when she only did 22, okay, only, right? Okay, to this weekend, over 400 views. Now imagine 44 virtual opens with each one getting over 400 views. How's that for traffic to your Facebook?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so it's thinking a little bit differently. It's also, it's the learning. Number one, if you want to do a virtual open, please do a test run or talk to somebody who has done it, okay? Because nothing is worse to get on not knowing what you're doing, and it's blind leading the blind. Role play in today's world is more important than ever before because we're asking people to use technology that they aren't comfortable using. And I understand that. It's like a virtual CMA. It's using a product like Zoom. I like Zoom, but other platforms work as well. But you want a platform to do your virtual CMAs that you can share your documents, be able to share your screen. And that's why I like Zoom, okay? And so, but you got to role play to become comfortable. And it's just learning how to tweak, okay, the listing presentation. So if you role play it, then you'll become more comfortable with it, and it's going to be a new way of doing business. This is no different if you were working with a relo client and you were doing virtuals with a relo client. Now you just happen to have to do it all the time, Matt.
Yeah, in fact, it's interesting. We've adapted several different expressions into a lot of media copy that we've had to change that we've never used before. We used to say, do you need to sell your home? But now we say, do you need to move? Because selling denotes where someone's trying to make money. Which, of course, normal market people are fueled by greed. But in this market, they're fueled by need, right? If they need to move, why would you fault somebody for saying, can I help you in your moving process? It's not. It's an opportunity, right?
Yeah.
The other question we've been using a lot is safe. We're using safe, sound marketing because people love the idea of safe. They're worried about people trumping through their homes that aren't safe. The other thing, being able to say, look, we've helped many people sell their home without ever meeting them. We've had buyers buy homes without ever meeting them in person. So that's not an impossibility. But I think right now a huge key is educating the consumer and making them feel good about that process.
Well, you know what's beautiful about that when you say educating the consumer? The current situation has educated the consumer for us. A lot of these places where you have to stay at home, doing a virtual, having a Zoom call with a client, the thing you got to worry about, some things you didn't think about, is your background. I was talking to a prospect earlier this week, and he's on Zoom. He's set up in his bedroom, and in the background was his unmade bed. Zoom gives you ability on most platforms where you can choose at least a virtual background. It didn't work on mine, so you notice I got a pop-up in the background. Okay.
Now, Brenda's not going to walk through that door, is she?
No, that's why it's shut. So, we got to think a little bit differently, but an abundance of common sense.
Absolutely.
And please, I cannot reiterate enough, Matt, take the sales scripts off at hello. Don't jump right into your sales script.
Two other interesting angles now that some people don't think about is FSBOs right now are even more scared than weak agents. We'll talk about recruiting in a second, but talk about how your approach to for sale by owners right now, what agents could do right now to benefit from that.
Wow, I think if a for sale by owner needed us, they needed us now more than ever because are they going to, and again, you don't want to, it's kind of putting you people in harm's way, if you will. But I think when we're talking to a for sale by owner, okay, you got to have the phone number. So whether you're getting them, using, different products that are available to get you the phone numbers for FSBOs, expireds also. A lot of people are pulling their houses off the market. So if you're a strong listing agent, be all over your expireds. I've advised all my clients, there's absolutely no reason to take a house off the market and cancel a listing. If we have to, if people, don't want anybody showing their house, we can do it temporarily off the market, but please don't cancel the listing.
So walk me through this for a minute. If I'm a
Okay.
seller and I say, you know what, Bob, I'm not comfortable with people coming through my home. I just want to give it a couple months. I'm not in a hurry to sell. I just would rather put in the market when this thing calms down. What would you tell me?
I would tell you, you know what, Matt, here's what we're going to do. Given our current situation, we have been doing hundreds of virtual tours to our clients' houses. And so we can mark the multiple listing service, no physical showings. You got to know your own board rules, okay, also. So that's important to notice. You got to, every MLS board has a little bit different rules. So please, I'm just going to make a general statement. It's your responsibility to, check what's legal and what you can and cannot do. But we're saying, look, we've done hundreds of virtual tours through houses without buyers ever coming into the house. Matter of fact, we've sold quite a few without a buyer even stepping foot inside the house. So I can appreciate you don't want people coming through, and I don't blame you. See, that's me showing a little empathy. I don't blame you. Okay. However, I don't want to miss the opportunity. Here's what's grossly important about like the virtual open house thing, Matt. The number one comment from sellers to those agents doing them: thank you for thinking outside the box. Thank you for not sticking your head in the sand. Thank you for being proactive. We truly appreciate it. And that is why a top producer in this market succeeds, is because they're thinking outside the box here. So we got to go after, the for sale by owner. You can talk about your virtual opens. They don't have the capability to do that. So they're going to even be more conducive to list with you because you're outside the box thinking. Same thing with expireds, Matt. People are just afraid, and you have agents out there just canceling listings, so canceled and expired. Get on those every single day. I see your house came off the market. Why is that? So get into curiosity first, right? Don't assume they pulled it off because of the current situation, but ask them, why'd you take your house off the market? Well, because of this current pandemic. Great. Now I can go back and pitch my value proposition. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So if you're a guy who has no listings, FSBOs and expireds are your best friend right now.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Now, the other question, this is a great opportunity, and maybe you could speak to like 2008, 9/11, other times of tragedy where good agents with good teams, it's a great time to recruit new agents. Can you speak to that?
Golly, yeah. Number one, first and foremost, in my opinion, is you must take care of your current existing team. Okay, you got to look out for team members, whether it's reviewing all of your vendors, and if you have to make price reductions with some of your vendors to preserve that you have money, to pay for your support staff, that has to be first and foremost. You got to look at your lead generation. All of our clients track their leads on a monthly basis. You get the reports frequently from me, okay, to see how they're doing. So we're monitoring every single month. In some of my cases, I have clients now, we've broken it down, we're monitoring lead generation weekly. So we can see the peaks and the valleys, and I can tell you. And again, I'm just getting in some of March's numbers. March's numbers actually went up on lead generation. And I'm expecting this to actually cause more leads to come in. Now, some people are saying, well, that sure as heck ain't my area because leads are like cut down 80%. I was talking to a guy yesterday. He said his leads are down 90% on a weekly basis. That's quite a bit. So I don't want to bring on too many agents if I don't have the leads for it. But you got to look at how long. Nobody has a crystal ball, Matt. We don't know how long this is going to last, especially these stay-at-home orders. Okay, because to onboard an agent properly, it takes a good solid 30 days. So if we say we're going to have this for 30 days, then it's a great time to bring these new agents on board them into your culture. Remember, we don't just hire bodies, we hire people that fit our culture. Okay, and that's extremely important. So, but there's a lot of agents out there struggling, and I think that a lot of them are going to be getting out of the business, and I know some of the listeners are going, it's about time. Okay, however, We don't like to see that. We like to see our industry grow. And we need there to be there to support our industry. And these people that are getting out of the business or think they want to get out of it, there's some great diamonds in the rough there, Matt. So be judicious, okay, and who you want to invite into your team, and make sure you have the proper hiring procedure.
If you would say, what are 1, 2, or 3 questions you would want to know about a prospective agent you were going to bring in the culture? What would be the red flags of good, and what would be the green lights of, yes, I'd love to talk to someone like this?
Okay. My 4 tenets of a great business, and Ryan Young out of Cleveland got tired of me saying it so much, he got them engraved in wood for me. Okay. But the Bob Corcoran's 4 tenets of a great business, number 1 is you want to hire people who embrace your mission statement. Number 2, you want to hire people who embody your core values. Number 3, Patrick Lencioni wrote a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. So the third tenet is only hire people who agree to adhere to the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Therefore, that book should be mandatory reading in their first 30 days. And number 4, only hire self-managed, self-disciplined people. So as I'm going through an interview with an agent, I'm going through what my mission statement is, what my core values are. I have Patrick's book sitting out here on the interview, and I'm showing them the book. Okay, and telling them this is required reading, because we can teach people how to sell, but finding people that are a cultural fit doesn't work. I mean, that's the hardest part. And as you well know, if you have a bad apple, okay, on your team, it can destroy a team. If you have somebody who people are quitting over, you know, I don't care if it's your top producing agent. If they're a bad culture fit, they have to go. First, you're going to warn them and tell them what your expectations are. Okay, so let's say I get through those 4 tenets of a great business. My best question right now is, what have you done during this current situation? Okay, number 1 I want to know is, why are you talking to me versus doing it on your own? What have you done outside of the box thinking to help yourself be successful? Listen to those answers, because they're critical. Well, I'm not doing anything because, well, my leads are down. I can't do open houses. I don't know if that's going to be a culture fit for me. You know, I'm looking for people who say, well, the reason I want to come work with you, Matt, is because I see how aggressive you are in the marketplace. I saw you doing all those virtual opens last week, and I want to be part of that. That's the kind of person I'm looking for.
Absolutely.
I want people who have researched your business and know what you're currently doing during the current situation.
It's true.
That's what I'm looking for, Matt. And you know what? You don't be a people pleaser in the interview. Too many agents I've seen, when they're interviewing agents, they're selling themselves. The CEO is selling themselves and their team. No, this is about turn the table. It's got to be about the candidate selling himself to you.
You know, one of the best questions I found to ask is to say, you know, I'm not sure if we're a fit.
Very good. And shut up then.
Them tell us why they think.
Then zip it. You know, man, I really don't feel we're a fit. And then you zip it. And let's see what they have to say. Remember, let them do the talking on the recruiting side of it.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. So lastly, and then we'll get to some questions. I know we've got a lot of feedback on here. I know some people have to look down, bottom line. They've got to start cutting some costs when they see crisis like this. As you've done in the last couple of weeks, walk me through some of your clients, and you don't have to name names, but walk me through some of your clients and talk about some of the obvious things you can cut and some things you might be surprised to say don't cut.
Well, you know, I'm going to be very careful to cut anything that is on a lead generation tool. Yeah, I'll just bring up radio and television, for example. Let's face it, Matt, drive time is pretty much gone. Okay, the drive time, the 48 steps from their master bedroom to their office, doesn't take much effort. However, TV viewership is way up. So I may be cutting a budget on radio and look at increasing that budget over on television, knowing that we have more viewership. So it's not only about cutting costs, Matt, but it's reallocating the costs.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's what I really stress to most of my clients. But I tell them, look, you got a 50-50 chance to get anything you want simply by asking.
That's true.
Okay? I know you've done tremendous work. Oh, I
Don't
say
start it.
tremendous work, and I know the aggravation that goes into it. Just renegotiating with stations, okay?
But
And
you know
I've
what's
heard,
funny though, Bob? I say that it's been absolutely the most intense 2 weeks of renegotiating, but at the same time, innovation comes from that. And
it
I've got a
really does.
list of fresh new things that we're launching that came as a result of doing things differently that I'm just so excited about rolling out because nobody else is doing them. And that's the key is you look for opportunities, but you communicate and you just cut in the right places, but add in the right places. And
Right.
now we know that, like you talk about, people aren't in their cars, but you know what? I just talked to the head of digital with iHeartMedia just literally 2 days ago, and he showed me a way to get into smart speakers in homes. That's up 30%. So we're
Wow.
going to have an inside track to get into people's smart speakers for pennies on the dollar before anybody else discovers it.
Geez, maybe you
So
can figure out a way to throw ads on Alexa, huh?
that's it. No, that's exactly what they can do. You can't buy those. You've got to know how to place them. But
Wow.
just by asking the right questions, like you say, and knowing the right people, those things can be done. And it's brand new. And that's not going to go away.
No.
It's only going to increase as we go. So
Yeah.
that opens up a whole new other opportunity that we're diving into. So it's a matter of looking for little areas to improve
Yeah.
and seizing them and being innovative. So
That is what it's about. But I think also, as just a call I had yesterday with one of my clients, you got to take your profit and loss statement, look at everything that you have recurring expenses on. And I don't care if a company is charging you $100 a month for a product, are they willing to take 50 right now? Remember, I have a 50-50 chance simply by asking the question. And almost every single company out there is willing to do something. I'm like, people say, well, it's only $50. Well, $50 times 10 different products is $500.
absolutely.
Okay, which pays an employee's salary for that week. And I also tell my clients to share with your team how much you're busting your butt, okay, renegotiating some of your current contracts and deferring payments or getting people to wipe off, whatever, and say, look, I'm doing this so I can make sure that I have money to pay you instead of laying you off. The other thing is, please, I implore all of you to look at what is going on, with the stimulus package right now. And if you have not, and my advice is apply for the things that are going to be forgivable. I'm not looking to take out a line of credit at 3.5%, okay, because that only helps me incur debt. But if I can do the payroll protection program, for example, where it can be forgivable, okay, I don't care if you get $20,000. I talked to one guy yesterday. His payroll protection package is like $422,000. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
It's true.
Why, Matt? Because a lot of people are lazy. The thing is, and Brenda did
Are
it
you
for
doing
us.
that?
I'm sorry?
Are you helping your teams do that right now?
Absolutely, okay? Because it is so important. And my best advice is, guys, number one is start with the bank, okay, of where you do all your banking, because you run a lot of money through there. So you have a better option of getting, if your bank is participating in these programs, to get a more favorable results using your current bank, okay? But Brenda, I told Brenda and all my clients, when you're doing this, you got to start the process and finish it, because a lot of these sites will time out, and it's not like you can go back to it. It's like you can't take a client call in the middle of filling this out because it's going to time out and you have to start all over. So I'm giving you the advice now. Once you start it, trust me, it's going to take you a few hours. Read the instructions first, gather all your documents, because you have to upload documents for that. But that's very important, is also to take care of that stimulus money that is available.
Excellent. Well, let's roll to some questions.
Yeah. All right. So I've recorded the questions here, and so I'll just read them out to you. John Wade was the first one. It says, "Thank you, Matt and Bob. What would you say to colder leads we haven't talked to in a while?" And by the way, just want to invite other people to either raise their hand or put their question in the chat room.
Okay, excellent. So colder lead, it's the same script as before. Hey, first, how's your family? Do not bring up the virus. Do not bring up sales at excuse me, at hello. Hey, I just wanted to call. It's been a while since we spoke. I want to check in. How's your family doing with the current situation? How has this affected your job? Okay. And then you can just, people will talk to you because they're desperate to talk to another human being because they're stuck at home for the most part. Remember, people aren't like real estate agents. Real estate agents, I had one client said, Bob, I am so zoomed out, it's pathetic. And I said, well, you better embrace it. It's your new reality, right? So to cold leads, number one, it's all about care and concern. It's all about just touching them. And when you show them and you start out that script by saying, I'm checking in on your family and how's this affected your job? I think if you go, My Outdesk, I think it's myoutdesk.com, but if you go to their site, Daniel Ramsey put together a phenomenal document called Shelter in Place. And you can download that document and send it to your clients. And now you're giving your clients who never have worked from home remotely, but the document is about 14, 16 pages of how to effectively work remotely. Now, My Outdesk is the number one real estate virtual assistant company in America. And so that document is packed powerfully with a lot of great tips, and people are going to appreciate things of value that you gave them. He also has another document up there. It's called Guide to the Local Area. And it's nothing more as what are the current restrictions going on in your area, like bars and restaurants are closed, carry out only, things like that. But you can just Google restrictions in your area, copy and paste it to this document, get it to your clients. That document should be updated at minimum once a week or unless something really changes. So for now, you want to give your things value. So John, if you're talking to a cold lead and they're working from home, get that document from My Outdesk, forward them something of value. And then get into, hey, I see I'm sending you leads. I'm sending you homes priced between 2 and 225 in this area. Do I need to change anything? So if it's a cold lead, you want to make sure you're incubating all your leads through different lead incubator platforms, like a FirePoint or a Boomtown, so to speak. Okay. So that's what I would say. Next, that's a great question though. Okay. Next question, Michael.
Yeah, Char McCollum asks, will Amy share her step-by-step how to for holding her virtual open house? If so, Bob, can you send that to me?
Yeah, Char, you've been a client, 21 years? Okay, I love you, baby. You're still asking. I talked to Amy the other day, and she is currently in the process of putting together her standard operating procedures. Should probably have first draft probably later today. Okay, so Char, if you talk to me on our next coaching call, be happy to get that over to you.
All right, next one from a very dear friend of mine, Daryl Plummer. Love the virtual open house with live 15 minutes on Facebook. Would love an agent to view who is good at this. Thanks.
Yeah, Amy Wien is David Zargami Group down in Sarasota, Florida, another one that's really, really good at it. And I'm sure some of my other clients are really good at it, just I haven't gotten all the detail from them. I mentioned those two because we had very deep conversations regarding, how we're doing and what we're doing. But a lot of it, you go to amywienens.com, and I think it's zargamigroup.com. Matt, you probably can verify that. Yeah. But look them up on Facebook because they haven't posted on Facebook.
I'll tell you, Matterport's a great company, and they are booming right now.
Yo.
I mean, they're probably in the heart of all this.
Yeah, I saw one of the questions there was how long is a virtual open? Generally 15 to 20 minutes. And the average number of views when they're live in those 15 to 20 minutes has been in the vicinity of 40 to 60. So when I said to one of my clients, I said, well, that's really good. And she goes, yeah, especially since I only get 5 to an open when we're there physically for 2 hours. So a lot easier doing a virtual open. Get a lot more traffic. Okay, Matt?
All right.
Michael?
Yeah, next one from Pei Lin Wang. How long of a duration for virtual open house?
Okay, like I just said, 15 to 20 minutes.
All right, good.
But make sure they're being recorded and then save them up to your Facebook page. The key is recording them and getting them posted because what you're going to get is way more views after the live virtual. You might get 40 to 60 to watch it at some part while you're live, but you'll get 300 to view it when you post it.
All right, excellent. And then Alina Gardner, I am just starting my brokerage and I need to recruit, but I'm not sure where to look or where to advertise for agents. Can you please recommend must-read? Oh no, that's another question. So where to look and advertise for agents?
And number one, I think, and Matt, I'm sure you're going to add in onto this one, but I'm going to say, ads like on Indeed. Indeed is drawing a pretty good traction for a lot of my clients. Also pulling up your MLS roster, okay, and making personal calls to these people. What you might want to consider doing is a video of introduction, okay? So you can do one video and make sure when I use the term evergreen, it means I can use it for anybody. So I don't want to create a video that says, hey, Matt, Bob Corcoran here with ABC Real Estate. I might say, hey there, this is Bob Corcoran with ABC Real Estate, and I wanted to reach out to you about an opportunity I have here at my office. Would love to discuss it with you. A short 25 to 30-second video snippet to pique their interest. What are you seeing out there, Matt, as far as where people are finding agents?
I think the interesting thing, Goran Todorovic, one of our clients, did something completely giving back to his agents. He actually targeted 1,000 agents in his MLS and just had an open discussion of practical things they can do as a group to work together to help each other. When you come from a place of giving, people see that. They see who the leader is. And if someone asks themselves, I want to know this leader better. Because you think about it, after you've given agents this huge gift, now when you come to them, what are they going to say? Like, you just gave them a gift. If you're me, and this is completely unsolicited, I'm not a real estate agent, but if I was, I'd be having you, Bob, talk to my board and tell them what you can do to get through this time period. What are all the tips that we just covered right now? I'd be having, and whether it's you or maybe somebody else that might also survive the storm. I know one of my clients, Darian Cochran in Virginia, he had 2 different agents, Justin Haver, Stephen Cooley, jump on his team call to motivate them about how to get through time periods like this. Now with virtual tours, agents are home too.
Yes.
If agents are at home and they can jump on this video, it's free. And the beautiful thing about capitalizing on video right now, I remember one time an agent told me when I would do Facebook Lives at agents' offices, and he made an interesting comment. He said, you know why I like doing this? There's a lot of agents that are afraid to come through my office because if you think about it, if they're walking through an office, people can see, oh, this agent's checking us out. When they can do a virtual tour online of an office, they never know that they're interviewing somebody else. It's a great chance to also to know that I'm aligned with this coach like you, that you're going to also help us in our business.
Right. Matt, another thing, because I know like the network I work in and the network you work in, and our networks are very giving. Okay. So it's taking like one of your clients that hops on a huddle of another one of your clients, their sales huddle, because Matt, everybody that's in your network is going to primarily speak the same language. It's just coming from a different voice. And so when the agents on your team are hearing somebody across the country speaking to them, number one, they go, wow, this is a great gift. And it's, as a team leader, please reach out to those other agents around the country within your network. Get them, because guys, let's face it, the hardest thing we do is keeping morale high. Especially when you can't see, touch, and feel. You can see them, but you can't touch and feel them. Okay, the hardest thing is, and you get a little tired of saying the same thing over and over, but it's your job right now, or it's your responsibility. It's not your job. Okay, so I strongly encourage, because it's also a great recruiting tool. You could post it and say, look, at tomorrow's huddle, I'm going to have Bob from ABC Real Estate join our huddle. Use it as a recruiting tool. Invite recruits into your huddle to see how you operate. That's another great recruiting tip, is to invite people to watch in on your huddles virtually.
Excellent. I think we have time for just one more question. We have a lot more questions, but unfortunately we do have to wrap up. So last question from Autumn Clifford. Do you have any recommendations for a preferred lead generation right now?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, Michael?
Yeah, do you have any recommendations for a preferred lead generation system right now?
God, there's so many great ones out there. Okay, I think number one, you're looking for a lead generation. I think more importantly, you also need a lead incubator. You need something other than your MLS. A lot of the MLSs will allow you to incubate leads, but a lot of the MLSs in doing that have certain limitations. Like I have one MLS, they can only have 50 buyers in there. I have some clients that are incubating 50,000 people, right? So I think right now, if you look at, I mean, Zillow has cut their costs to a lot of their premier members, by 50%. They were one of the first companies to reach out and go public with that. But there are a lot of them. I mean, you can take a look at, a product like, like a Boomtown or like a FirePoint. How is Structurally doing these days, Matt? Structurally
really
is
like
about
that.
artificial intelligence. That's another great product.
They're doing real well, and I'll tell you, before I would even recommend lead generation, depends if you're looking for buyers or sellers. I'll tell you, Ylopo has really stepped up their game.
Yes, Ylopo, that's right.
They've been fantastic in terms of being able to create websites that are seller friendly. Man, I'll tell you what, I've struggled. We've talked about it.
Oh, Howard Taggart's done a tremendous job with Ylopo.
But I think having the right foundation in place, speak to talking to your past clients. I would almost recommend doing that first, just because if you can't have that foundation in place, I've got a prediction, and Bob, you tell me if this is right. We're in a storm right now, and when we come out of it, we're not going into winter.
No.
We're in the spring going into the busiest time of the year.
Right.
A lot of people haven't reserved the fact that they're not going to sell this summer. They know they're going to sell. So when this finally people aren't in fear anymore, there's going to be a flood of homes coming on the market. The people that have the systems to handle it will have great years. You won't see much difference. The people that aren't set up with systems are going to get overloaded. They're going to knock out, call back on people. They're going to lose business, sure, and they're going to fail.
No, I think you're right, Mac. When dealing with my coaching clients, I always saying that's why it's about, number one, give something of value to your people because they're going to remember that. Along with you, I agree that my teams will get our business back, okay? It depends how much of the business you want back. The more you go overboard of reaching out to your database, your past clients, your SOI, that's when you're going to get it back. Remember, you get by giving. So by you giving things of value to your clients, by your entire team making phone calls, and if you have a team and you're a team leader listening to this call right now is more important than ever. As you as a team leader with a big team, you spend millions of dollars branding your name. I would always say, hey, this is Bob with Matt Wagner Real Estate. Matt asked me to give you a call and check in on how your family's doing. Because Matt Wagner's name, because he's his multi-gazillion producer, he spent a lot of money branding his name. The name Matt Wagner is going to open the door a lot faster than Bob. So I want to name drop because people aren't going to think, well, why didn't Matt call me? Because we have all these people going on right now. So it's all the things you're doing today of value will determine if you're going to get that business back. And that's what you must focus on. As I've said in the past, my clients will all come out of this, I'm going to say probably 25 to 35% increase in business year over year. For the simple fact, we held steady during the current storm. And there is nothing more important. Number one, your team is most important, okay, when it comes to your business life. Your family's your most important, okay? But, really focusing in on your team, and I can't tell you, if you want to come out of this stronger, then you have to get out there and seek advice of what you can do. Do a really deep analysis of your business. I'd be happy to review that. If anybody would like, listening on today's call or on the recorded version of this, if you want to have a one-on-one with me, here, send me your business plan. We'll schedule a 30-minute call. I'll give you my nuts and bolts worth. My job is to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Okay. Most of my clients are smiling and say, "Oh, he said a mouthful there." Okay. But with me, Matt, like you, we care so much about the people we work with, and we want those people who want to succeed. We want to help them. It's not about the money. I know, Matt, you'll do the same offer. Somebody just wants, advice. Please, you can email me, bob@bobcorcoran.com. That's CORCORAN. But if you would like a one-on-one meeting, please, let's see if if you want to talk about coaching, let's see if you're a fit. Do you have what it takes to be in the stratosphere? Every year, Matt, as you well know, our clients are in the top 100 with the Wall Street Journal and Real Trends. I coached personally 32 people myself. 29 of them were in the top 100 last year. Okay, and so it'll be interesting to see the new one come out. But why? It's because they showed care and concern about people, especially in times like we're going through right now.
And I would just add the 2 words, and people, anyone that knows me, and you probably know this as well, Bob, the 2 words that will absolutely change your life: humble implementation. If you're humble enough to listen and you implement what you're told, you implement what I think when I look back, that's what really the common denominator that our clients have in common is that they were humble enough to listen and they implemented the things that you've taught them or that I've recommended. And look we've created a lot of millionaires together. And
we look to create more.
And the cool part is millionaires that have a life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of unhappy millionaires out there. To be able to look at the quality of people that have been produced, I'm
totally
just honored to be able to share that with you.
Okay, I appreciate that. As Michael just informed me, hey, if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one, go to my website, bobcorcoran.com, click on the schedule an appointment button, fill it out there, and then we'll be in touch to get that call scheduled. So, I think, Matt, I think we talked about a lot. We gave people a lot of great tips. Hopefully, they'll go back. I strongly recommend once we get it posted up there is to rewatch it. Okay, get some ideas. If you have questions that come up, please email me. I'll be happy to get them answered for you. And let's just take it from there. I think, at the end of the day, it's about being safe. Focus your family first, your team second, your clients third. Does that sound fair to everybody? All right.
Awesome.
Folks, Matt, thank you so much. When Michael asked me, he goes, who would you like to MC it? Matt, we've been together so long. We think alike. We share common client base. I just love you to death, and I just thank you for being part of this. It means a lot to me, and truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Matt. Thank you for all of today's listeners and those listening on the recorded version of it. We're here to help and assist you. Focus on your family, your teams, then your clients, folks. We love you. Be safe out there. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.